The attacker is called Capitao. He's a pretty versatile operator because he has like a bunch of things he can do. He has a nice loadout with a frag grenade, but mostly he comes with a special ability, which is his tactical crossbow. This one comes with two kinds of bolts. The first one is an asphyxiating bolt, which is basically an area of effect, which is typical area denial. So it's really meant to force defenders to move from a specific point, force movements and create new angles. And the second one is typically a smoke grenade, but that you can deploy with a lot more precision, accuracy, range than a typical smoke grenade would. So Cavera is we tried something a bit new with her because she's pretty much the first operator that doesn't really work with a gadget. It's more of a training. She can activate a special stance that we call the silent steps, and basically what it does is when you move into the map, you do a lot less noise. So you can't have it activated 100% of the time. You still have to manage the resource, but you can move around like a lot more silently than you would normally, which is really useful for the second thing that she can do, because she specializes in stalking isolated prey, and if she can find one and put it in DBNO, then she can interrogate that target, and she can reveal the position of the whole enemy team for a while for all of her team. So from the PlayStations we had internally, it's super rare, like really difficult to pull out, but if you manage to pull it out, then it's really difficult for the other team because you get a very, very big advantage. For Cavera, for instance, she comes with a nitro cell. She's typically your roamer, so she's the one that's going to be roaming around the building, maybe a bit far from her own team and trying to find isolated prey. On the Capito's side, he's coming with frag grenades. So we're experimenting having 3 attackers coming with frag grenades, which is a bit of a first. We thought about it a bit, we tried it internally, play tested it, so it seemed to work, so we'll tweak it if it's not working as intended, but we think it should work. I think the biggest difference and the biggest challenge that the level design team had to work on is basically what they call the outer shell destruction. Most of the building, outside of the building walls, are pretty much all breakable. Like you can create a shit ton of line of fire in there. It's really dangerous both for attackers and defenders, so it changes the way you approach when you spawn. The way you approach the building is different because you can get shot from a lot of places that defenders are created peepholes and try to shoot you from. But at the same time, attackers can really break a lot of the walls around the objective room, so it can be really dangerous for defenders to stay packed inside the main room. So it really forces you to move around and get to know the map and know your way around. We want to add choices as much as possible on the weapon loadouts and attachments. We only had one grip so far, which is the vertical grip, which reduces recoil. And we want to add, like bit by bit, a little more choices on these things. So the angle grip is another kind of grip that you can have. What it does is that it accelerates the ADS time. So it's an option that's really interesting if you have a very aggressive playstyle, if you play a short range and you need like to come from hipfire to ADS as fast as possible. For this one, we really decided to focus typically on what we call the health program, which is stuff like anti-cheat. So we are really happy to announce the BattleEye anti-cheat coming to PC. We have a lot of little stuff that we're improving on, like the kill cam accuracy has gotten much better. There's a bunch of UI improvements. Like you're gonna see, there's a ton of details. The patch note is incredibly long, but I think there's gonna be a bunch of nice surprises in there. It's a reference to what the community used to call the hardcore mode. It's pretty much exactly what you imagine from it. So you get a lot less HUD info. The only HUD info that are remaining is basically what your loadout is and how you can activate it, which is really needed. But all the rest of the info is pretty much not there. And from all the sessions we've had here with the influencers, the streamers and all, and internally, it's a completely different game from what you have normally. You have so little info on where your teammates are that you need to coordinate a lot, and the first games are usually a mess.